One. Hey, you guys, welcome to 6 a.m. Coffee with Shanda. Hi, Jamie Bogan, Stephanie Shannon. Gosh, you guys are quick this morning. I am with Bedros Kalouni, the owner of Fit Body Bootcamp, and he also has an incredible company where he coaches people how to build businesses that are in the gym world and the fitness world. So I'm excited to have you, Bedros, for a couple different reasons. You are probably, I say this to Craig all the time, you're probably one of both of our favorite people, but you are so generous. Like you exude the energy of true leadership. And I appreciate that in you, because one of the biggest things I've had to learn just as a woman and a wife and a business owner is how to be a leader and how to just kind of, be a good person. Well, I didn't have to learn how to be a good person, but there's this element of a lot of people think they give too much, or that they're kind of martyrism in their giving. And as I've gotten to know you, not only are you like this big, amazing teddy bear, but you're like a pit bull in business, and I love it. So I know the next 20 minutes is going to be fun.
It is, and thank you for the opportunity for having me on here. Hello, folks. How are you?
Hi. Can you see them saying hi? Hi, Denise. How are you? Judy, Jody. Kelly Rutley. Kelly Rutley's actually been to some of Craig and your events.
Yeah.
Suzanne, Christy Miller, Tanya, Tina, Carla, who's my stylist. I love her. Miranda, good morning, all you guys. Awesome. If you have a question for Bedros, please go ahead, pop it in the comments section. We can both see it. And Bedros, let's get started. Tell our audience a little bit about like who you are in case they've never met you before.
So I'm a really lucky guy. Let me start off first of all by saying that I'm a really lucky guy to know you, to know great people like Craig and all the mutual friends that we have, right? Because without them, I would just be this foreigner who came to this country and accomplished nothing. And so that said, I am the immigrant edge and I am the American dream, and I'm very blessed for that. In 1980, we escaped communist Russia and came to the United States. We were poor, we were broke, we didn't speak English, didn't know the culture, and the only thing my dad kept instilling in me and my older brother and sister is that as long as you serve this country, it will give you the freedom and opportunity to become anything you want. And maybe because I was the baby of the family, I was only 6 years old, I believed that, where my brother and sister, they were 19 and 22. Maybe they had a different experience than I did in this country, but I believed what my dad said because I'm the child of the family. And so I just decided that I'm just going to come with a giving hand forever and ever. And whether it was in school, if I had a sandwich and you wanted half, there you go. If you wanted all of it, I'd give it to you and then I'd go home hungry and eat. But that was okay. We went hungry for years at a time anyway, and when we first got to this country. So as I grew up in business, I learned from my father, who opened up a tiny little tailor shop in Anaheim, that the more you can give, the more you get. And I don't know if that's the law of the universe or that's just sheer luck or whatever, but I believe it, and I'm not the most woo-woo guy on the planet. As you know, I'm pretty straightforward, and what you see is what you get. And so I would see my dad with his little tailor shop. A customer would come in, he'd say, "Hey, Joe, the button off my pants, just popped right off. I'm on my way to work." He would have them wait in the dressing room. He'd sew the button back on, hand them the pants, they'd put it on, go to work. My mom would yell at him because he said, "Why didn't you charge him a couple bucks for that?" He says, "Don't worry, they will come back." And always they came back, they brought more business, and they referred their friends. And so it's not that I give with the intention of getting back. I just give because it feels good. And oh, by the way, what a great side benefit that is to also get, right? And so with that said, I was fortunate enough to start a fitness business. As I graduated high school, started personal training. I worked as a personal trainer, a fry cook, and a bouncer at a gay bar, believe it or not. By the way, the gay bar paid more. People always ask me why I worked at a gay bar. The gay bar paid more than the straight bar because every night skinheads would come in to gay bash. And unfortunately, it was our job as the bouncers to fight them off. And so I didn't like being a bouncer. I didn't like being a fry cook, but it's what I had to do to make ends meet as a personal trainer. All I wanted to do was serve people, wake up early in the morning and train you, get your head straight, send you off to work, because that was my purpose on this planet. Yeah. And thankfully, one of my clients took mercy on me and he said, "Hey, look, do you want to stop working those side jobs?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Stop taking orders and start selling." And I said, "Well, I beg to differ." His name was Jim Franco, and he's still a good friend of mine. He's in his 70s now. I said, "Jim, I sold you personal training." He goes, "No, you didn't. I came in here with the intention to buy personal training. You took my order. That was it. You're an order taker." And that hurt. It stung. But I learned in that moment that I've been letting a lot of people walk away from me who I could have converted into clients. I could have made more money and had a bigger impact in their lives. So I committed, because I get a little OCD on things, I committed to going all in on learning how to market, influence, persuade, and convert people into paying clients. Now, since then, we fast forward about 15 years. I'm the founder and CEO of Fit Body Bootcamp. We're a 2-time Inc. 5000 company now. Just in the last 5 years is how long Fit Body Bootcamp's been around. We've got over 500 locations worldwide, and we're adding 20 new locations per month, which I'm really thankful for. And of course, I'm in the process of writing a book called Man Up, Cut Your Bullshit and Dominate in Business.
And ladies, you can benefit from that too, because I benefit from being around Bedros constantly. That's why I have him on.
Absolutely. And you know what? In the very first chapter of Man Up, because I just finished a manuscript and sent it over to the publisher, I say, hey, ladies, the Man Up mantra is for you as well. Man Up is when you step up and do the right thing, even though you know it's the painful thing. That's manning up.
Yeah, can I ask you a question? And I want to get into some of the pieces in Man Up, because I think it's really important. But I asked you the question, like, before we jumped on, like, do you ever get afraid as things are growing? And you said yes. And I think I just wanted to bring that up because, you know, I think sometimes I know people can look at me and think that I don't get fearful, and I do, and I share it all the time. But, you know, I had to ask you because I'm in another growth specs sector in hardcore, and there is this part of like, you know, to grow that big, and you grew huge in 5 years. Yeah. So, you know, there's two questions I have that I just want you to answer really quick, and I want to get into Man Up. Yeah. But one aspect is like holy shit moment that you're growing so big, and do you even really want to do that? Because I think there's so much generosity in giving more to grow bigger. And the second question I have for you is like, what's the difference between you and me? And be straight up, you and me, about how you grew, where you grew in 5 years, and what I've done in 5 years, because I'm not even close to where you're at in 5 years. And I just am teaching. I've asked you the same thing with Spartan.
I will start with the last question first, if you don't mind. And I say this with love and respect, and you know that I love you to pieces. And so the difference between you and me, you are who I was in 2014. And again, in the book, I talk about in 2014, I was undisciplined. I slept in late. I hit the snooze button. I focused on all the trivial shit just so I can avoid the critical stuff that would really move my business. Okay. And I'm guessing because, you know, I have a lot of coaching clients who are high level and high performers. I started to focus on only the big levers, which is the 5%. 5% of the things you do are the big levers that move your business forward. All the other 95% are trivial things that you should be outsourcing that you're not. And so it's giving you decision fatigue because you're making decisions on little things that you shouldn't even be thinking about. You're moving the little levers to move your business forward. You got to do those things. I don't know if you're writing payroll checks or commission checks or whatever, but whatever little things there are. And so you got to take one of these things and draw a line down the center and go, what's in my 5%? What's in my 95%? And I do that about once a quarter because very easily, it's like the cell membrane. It's like the pore of a cell. Things from the 95% can just easily float into that 5% list. So for me, my 5% is to delegate, motivate, and sell. And make no mistake about it. I'm right here on here with you, not only giving, but also selling. I'm selling my idea. I'm selling my influence. I'm selling who I am because no one else can sell like I can.
Yeah.
Delegate to my team. I motivate my business partners and I sell. Delegate, motivate, sell. And that is the 5% I focus on my 8, 9, 10, 15 hours a day when I'm working. And some days I do work as much as 15 hours on the 5%. So that's critical, is move the big levers. And as far as the holy crap, what happens? Do you ever get nervous and scared? Absolutely. I used to suffer from anxiety attacks so bad that I went and saw a therapist because my doctor gave me Xanax, and Xanax made me so numb. There you go, right? By the way, here's a new stat that I just read yesterday. 30% of entrepreneurs are chronically suffering from depression, and 50% have suffered at least some level of anxiety attack, panic attack that, you know, kind of put them on their butt. Yeah. And so one thing I learned very quickly from my therapist and also just working on myself was, what are the things that cause my panic attack? It's it's really thinking, what is the pain in the future? Anticipation of future pain is what causes anxiety attacks. So we go, all right, I have to get up on the stage and speak in front of 2,000 people in September. Oh my gosh, that's starting to give me anxiety. I could either dwell on it and go deeper down that dark rabbit hole and have that panic attack, which isn't going to help anybody. Yeah. Or I can do what my therapist Kevin taught me, which is action alleviates anxiety. So he says, hey, you're having anxiety about something, take action towards it. Start working on your PowerPoints, get better at your presentation, figure out what your first opening one-liner is going to be to break the ice. And when you start taking action towards the things that cause anxiety, you begin to alleviate it. And this goes to whether you're taking out a $4 or $5, $10 million loan to launch your business, or you're bringing on investors, or you're going into a whole brand new sector, or you're going from the offline world into the online world, which is now you're competing against the big boys and girls. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally does. I just echoed for some reason. Yeah, it totally does. I'm going to do that exercise. I'm not sure why I'm echoing. Can you guys hear an echo?
Yeah, it comes and goes, the echo.
Interesting. So let's get into Man Up. You have 3 aspects of Man Up that you really focus on in that book. And one's leadership, so I'm interested in talking about that. But talk about the 3 aspects of Man Up and why you put those 3 things in it.
Yeah, so let me set the stage first. We launched Fit Body Bootcamp as a franchise in 2012. Became an official franchise, and I thought, you know what? Now that we're an official franchise, easy peasy lemon squeezy, like Subway, 7-Eleven, Anytime Fitness, here we come. And so that was far from the truth. Now, as an information marketer, I was able to go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning. I was able to wake up at maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and send out a broadcast, run some ads, and I'm making good money. And I was making a couple $1 million a year then. Now we're obviously a multiple 8-figure company, and it's a whole different ballgame. It's like you're a fighter jet, where that fighter jet can perform really well, go drop bombs on the bad guys and come back. But one little piece of debris in the engine, and that thing is out of commission. And so the info marketer who wants to become a fighter jet, to go from a crop duster to a fighter jet, has to step up and become a great leader, have clarity of vision, and of course, have a strong team behind them. And I'll go into each one for just a moment. But from 2012 to 2014, I suffered because my franchise was failing. I was losing more people than getting people on board. I would literally bring 10 people on board this month. I would lose 12 the next month because we had no structure, no systems, and they pictured a franchise being something like a Subway or 7-Eleven that's paint by numbers, which is what it is today. And so in 2014, I said, you know what? I'm either going to lose this great opportunity with this franchise to build a $100 million business, or I need to man up. I need to man up and become more disciplined and structured. I need to be part of the 5 a.m. club. And so, just like today, waking up at 5 a.m. with my list of things to do, and my list is only 4 things. 4 things, with the top one being the most important thing. So all day long, I just have 4 things to do. All 4 things are within my 5%. And so when you man up, you become a great leader. A great leader is someone who can communicate well, who is decisive, and who is leading from the front. And this is the biggest thing that I see in people who are bosses and leaders, is the hypocrisy in, well, I want you to go out there and market for me, team member. I want you to do the sales and closing for me. But the boss shows up late to meetings. When they show up to the meetings at all, they show up disheveled, in a state of mental chaos. They're always unprepared. They're never fit. And make no mistake about it, you are welcome to be out of shape, both mentally and physically, if you're a regular person. If you are high speed like we are, you have no room to be out of shape mentally or physically. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Right. Because your body is a fighter jet, and the mission, the battle you're fighting, is the growth of your empire that's going to impact lives. And so there's no room to have a crop duster in the world of fighter jets. And so as a fighter jet leader, and that's, I'm going to keep talking about the whole fighter jet crop duster analogy because I talk about that, so obviously leading from the front, wake up early, work out, read the books, surround yourself with positive people, have positive thoughts in your mind. I despise nothing more than when people gossip. They're leaders and they gossip. Did you hear what happened to this person and that person? What exactly is gossip going to lead us to?
I talk about that in my community all the time. Always the people who are gossiping, bitching, and complaining are the ones that are losing. You don't want to be circle. You don't want to be on those calls. You don't want to be on the text messages. You want to actually be the person that nobody actually informed because they would never inform you, because if they did, you would squish it. Do you know what I mean? A leader doesn't sit there and go, let me ignore that conversation. They're like, stop, get on with work.
Yeah. And so the other two things about leading from leadership is, okay, we're going to lead from the front, but then we also have to be decisive and communicate clearly. Decisive just means make a decision. It doesn't matter if it's the wrong decision, but every day as a leader, you're given many decisions, some small, some big. And if you make a decision, you'll know soon enough it was the right decision or not. If it was, go with it. If it wasn't, you can course correct. But indecision has cost entrepreneurs more money than making the wrong decision. And I'll say that again. Indecision has cost entrepreneurs more money, lost money, than making the wrong decision. And so people go, well, how do I start being decisive? You know, I don't want to sound like I'm pushy. I don't want to be a control freak. No, be a control freak. And I'm not saying be pushy. I'm saying make little decisions that lead to bigger ones. So if you and your husband, Ash, are going out, are going to go out to dinner tonight, and it's, honey, where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? Someone make a decision and decide, because if he says we're going to go here and we're going to go at this time, and if you don't like the idea, you can course correct. But it builds your decision-making muscles to make the small decisions so that when the big critical decisions come up, you can make those. And then, of course, communication is the other aspect of leadership. If you can't communicate your vision and your thoughts without freaking out emotionally, or without, it's always in the book I talk about, do you react to issues or do you respond to issues, right? A good communicator responds. Someone who's a crop duster reacts when a client cancels and freaks out, and they're freaking out too. So now we've got two people freaking out. How's that helping anybody? Yeah. So that's what leadership element does. Now we go on to the vision, and most entrepreneurs kind of chase the idea fairy. Whatever new idea they have, they do this, they do that. Their employees or their team starts to go, you know what? Indecision and idea chasing is really leading this person into chaos. I better go find a new job. Yeah. So my goal is 2,500 locations of Fit Body Bootcamp worldwide by the year 2020. And that is it. We're locked on. I've got the deadline, and I know what the path is. We do the marketing and we do the outreach to get those people on board by the year 2020. I get business ideas sold to me every day. Come on board with this. Let's partner up with that. Let's JV with this. No, thank you. A strong leader says no, thank you, has the power to say no. Someone who's approval seeking and needy and is always chasing the idea fairy is someone who will say yes to everything and then really end up doing nothing. So clarity of vision is number two. And then, of course, building a team of badasses, of fighter jets, people who take losing personally. I've got such a strong team. You've been to my headquarters.
Oh, I know. Your headquarters are amazing, but you're also have been amazing at helping me have conversations in my own head around stuff like that. But go ahead.
Yeah. So every team member at our headquarters is a fighter jet. Again, they may have come on board as a crop duster, but they had fighter jet potential, and we built them up. But as soon as we saw that if we thought they were a fighter jet, and then we learned that they're not clearing out their email by the end of the day, they're not responding to phone calls within 24 hours, they're not picking up the phone by the second ring, they're not, we part ways with them. There's no point in keeping a weak link on board, because that tells the rest of the fighter jets that, again, you are a poor leader. So the solution, the answer to everything is leadership. The problem for everything is leadership. You become a great leader, you get clarity of vision, you build a strong team, and you've got an empire.
That's awesome. I love you, Bedros. You're always so clear and powerful. I mean, I got to take away even more stuff listening to you talk right now. We'll take two questions, then we'll close it up. And Bedros is actually going, do you have your hat? I asked Bedros. Okay, we're going to give this awesome hat. I was just telling Ash how awesome your logo is. It's so cool.
Thank you. By the way, this hat is not for sale. We only give this away to my $50,000 private coaching clients and my mastermind members. And so this is something that I'll send to the person who does the most. What are they going to do? They're going to tag?
Yeah, we're going to do tagging. So we're asking, what do we do? So the way that my team can actually can count and see who's going to be the most generous, who's going to be the strongest leader on this thread, is we're going to look by 3 o'clock today who's tagged the most amount of people and shared, so that at 3 o'clock Nadia will go in and she'll see who's the most generous and the biggest leader here, and then we'll let Bedros know, and he will actually ship you that hat. I love that hat. So know that 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So question for you, if you guys have a couple questions, we'll take 2 questions. And we'll go from there and we'll close up so you guys can move on with an amazing day. How do you start delegating when you don't have the money to do it yet?
When you don't have the money, that means you have the time. So there's always, if you have money, you buy time. If you don't have the money, that means you have the time. So if you don't have the money, then you start maybe trading out for a service. So for example, you go, hey, because if you don't have money, that means you're not that busy. You might say, hey, I will do X for you if you do this for me. So whatever skill sets a person has, Jody, you're going to do this in exchange for the things you're going to delegate. And then over time, as you build money, you're going to exchange money for time.
Yeah, great. Great answer. Definitely worth sharing. I love that. Anybody else have another question? There's a bunch of you guys on. Oh, Tiffany, when you start taking action, begin to alleviate anxiety. Yeah, that was a good one. Mm-hmm. Okay. Bedros, you're awesome. What you just shared in the last 20 minutes, super valuable. Thank you, Shannon, for having Bedros on as a guest. He is amazing. Okay, so Julie has a question. What are your top 3 hiring tips to find a fighter jet?
Oh man! All right, that's like asking how do you
find and create a fighter jet.
All right. Well, that's like I said, that's like trying to say, how do I find a unicorn? But I'm going to give it a shot. Thing number 1 is that you're looking for is personality, not skills. Now, obviously, if we're looking for a software coder or web developer, that's a very specific skill. Yeah. So I've got a department of web developers or coders, and they will first look for skills. Hey, recreate this website. They make sure the code is right, blah, 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 blah. So if it's a skill thing, then you're going to look for the skill first, personality second. So it's not really even top 3 tips. It's just top 2 things. This is not a skill required thing, meaning they're going to be a personal assistant. You're looking to make them into a customer support rep. Then you're looking for someone with enthusiasm, someone who locks on. In other words, when you're talking to them, are they leaning forward and locked on to your conversation? Or are they timid, afraid, arms crossed and leaning back? Are they closed off? All those things matter. And so I'm looking for someone who's type A, who's driven, who seems competitive to me. Rather than asking them, you can actually put them through the DISC assessment, which there's some DISC assessment tests online that tells you if they have a dominant personality or if they're more laid back. But I want someone, you imagine a fighter jet pilot is very dominant and type A. A crop duster pilot is probably pretty laid back, and he'll get around to, dusting the crops sometime this afternoon. So we really test for personality the most, because if they are driven, fighter jets who are just will not take no for an answer, that's the mentality I'm looking for, dominant mentality. And we just put them through the DISC assessment and then ask them a lot of questions and see if they can keep up with us.
I love it. I love it. Okay, any final last words?
Well, the final last words are that I really love the opportunity that you've given me here, so I want to thank you. And for everyone who's watching this and is in the world of Shanda Panda, you guys are very fortunate. You guys are very lucky to have someone so great and generous to be able to coach you, mentor you, and lead the way.
Thanks, Bedros. I feel the same about you. You're awesome. All right, you guys, this is 6 a.m. Coffee with Shanda. I didn't tell you, I am drinking my macchiato, which I love it. What are you drinking, Bedros?
I am drinking my usual Starbucks iced coffee with 1 pump of classic.
1 pump of what?
Their little classic syrup they have. Oh. So did you know that they put like 5 pumps of classic syrup in here, which makes it super sugary? So I just go 1 pump of classic. It's like 30 calories for the whole thing. It's amazing.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Awesome. All right, you guys, see you on 6 a.m. Coffee with Shanda tomorrow. It's Monday through Friday if you're new for us. Bedros, if someone wants to actually find you, like Instagram, anything like that, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, thankfully I've got a unique name. So Bedros Keuilian on Instagram, Bedros Keuilian on Facebook, or they could just bedroskeuilian.com and they'll find my blog with a ton of content.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. All right, you guys, have a great day. Bye.